It started on a slow Sunday. The house felt heavy and quiet. It was the kind of quiet that made my chest hurt. My little boy Ethan was 7 years old. He sat on the floor in the living room. He lined up his toy cars in a neat row. He hummed to himself and made little car sounds. He was trying to make the house feel safe with his small, bright noise. The front door slammed. My father walked in hard, his face dark. He held a belt in his hand like it was a weapon. He saw Ethan and the cars in the hallway. He came close and shouted, "Get that junk off the floor. This is not a playground." His voice shook the room. Ethan froze. He held his cars with his small hands. I stood up quickly. I did not think. I moved between them like a shield. "Don't you touch him," I yelled. Ethan clung to my legs. He squeezed my jeans like he wanted help. My father lifted the belt. He hit my back, hit it again and again. Each strike burned. My shirt tore. I bit my lip until it hurt. I did not cry. Ethan was watching. I did not want him to see me fall apart. My mother came from the kitchen with a plate of cake. She looked like she was ready for a party, not a fight. She leaned in the door and watched. She took a bite of cake and rolled her eyes. "You always act like you're a hero," she said. "You think anyone will thank you?" She sounded bored. She did not move to help. Ethan began to cry. His sobs were small and frightened. He tugged at my shirt. "Mommy, please," he whispered. I wanted to tell him everything would be okay. I wanted to make the pain go away. But if I moved, my father would hit him next. I thought of that and it felt worse than the belt. I stood steady. I held Ethan behind me. "Stay behind me," I told him in a calm voice. I hoped my voice sounded strong. My body hurt, but I wanted Ethan to feel safe. My father grabbed my hair and forced me to look at him. He spat and said, "You don't tell me who I can punish." He called Ethan a brat. I felt small and angry all at once. I wanted to scream, but I kept quiet. I learned long ago that silence sometimes protected me. When he hit me again, I fell forward. My knees hit the carpet. I tasted blood. I did not scream. I did not want to make Ethan more scared. My mother tossed the belt on the table like it was trash. "Pathetic," my father said before he left. The door slammed behind him. Ethan knelt beside me and tried to lift me. He wanted me to stand up. "Mommy, don't leave me," he begged. His voice was thin and full of fear. I wrapped my arms around him and let my tears fall. The tears came from a place inside me that was tired and angry. I pressed my forehead to his and I promised, "I will keep you safe. I promise." The next days were a blur. My back hurt every time I moved. My shirt brushed against the hurts and it burned. I could not bend easily. I could not sleep right. In our house, people called pain weakness. They used it to make me feel small. Ethan never left my side. He always carried his small cars in his pockets. Sometimes he handed me a blue car and said, "This one is fast, Mommy. It will take us away." His words were like a light. They cut through the heavy silence. He was only 7, and he already dreamed of leaving. After that day, something inside me changed. The belt did not break me. It made something else grow. I felt fire in my chest. Not the hot, angry kind that only hurts and leaves a mess. A different kind. A clear, cold kind. A kind that wanted to protect my son and make the house safe. My parents thought they had power. They thought they were in charge because people in the neighborhood respected them. My father liked to talk about how he was a strong man. My mother loved to look perfect and be admired. They cared a lot about what other people thought. I started to watch. I learned small things they left behind. My father always left his wallet on the counter when he shaved. My mother left her phone unlocked with messages and photos that showed how she wanted others to see her. They trusted the world more than their own house. At night, after Ethan slept, I would go to the bathroom. I would press a clean cloth to my back. I looked at myself in the mirror. I saw a tired woman, with shoulders low and eyes dark. But I also saw something new in the mirror, a plan. I began to think about how to change things. I started to write in a small notebook I hid under the mattress. I wrote down everything. I wrote every mean word, every time food was taken from Ethan, every time a hand hit my skin. I wrote facts, simple lines. Writing made the bad things feel less like a fog and more like pieces I could use. It felt like I was building something that could help us leave. I did not tell Ethan why I wrote. Once he asked if it was homework. I smiled and said, something like that. I would not tell him that it was a map to a better life. Weeks passed. My parents kept acting like everything was fine. They laughed and went to parties. They showed off my sister and told everyone how perfect their family looked. They thought my quiet was surrender. They were wrong. I started to make small moves. I listened more than I talked. I went to the town library's bulletin board and read notices. I went to the church basement where people had meetings. I learned who people listened to. I learned who could help or who could make trouble for my parents. I did not talk about my family. I asked about small things. People told me about rules, about meetings, and about who was trusted. The truth was that my parents' power came from the way people saw them. They cared about their image. They loved being praised and counted on. If people stopped trusting them, they would lose that power. That is where I decided to strike. I began to leave small notes and copies of my notebook in secret places. I slipped envelopes under doors, into mailboxes, and on church tables. I did not sign my name. I only put down facts. I wrote in simple words what happened behind our closed door. At first, people noticed in small ways. A neighbor didn't say hello anymore. Women who used to laugh with my mother began to whisper and look away. Then I did something more. My father wanted to run for a small-town job. He said people needed a man like him. I sent letters to the people who choose candidates. I told them, in plain words, what my father did. I wrote that he hid us and that my mother watched. I did not shout or yell. I wrote calmly. I gave names and dates. When the selection people read the letters, they stopped thinking he was a good choice. The nomination disappeared. My father came home angry. He slammed cabinets and broke things with his fists. He yelled and called people liars. My mother cried and called others traitors. But people were already looking at them differently. Their proud faces started to fall. Invitations stopped. Calls stopped. The house that used to shine like a perfect home felt quiet in a new way. I saw that my plan worked. But I did not stop. I wanted to make sure no one would hurt Ethan again. I wanted my son to grow up with kindness, not fear. One day, when my mother had her tea party for friends, I let Ethan carry an envelope to the table. Inside were pictures I had quietly kept. They were not cruel pictures. They were simple and true. They showed the marks and the bruises I could not hide. When the women opened the envelope, the room grew still. My mother's smile fell apart. The guests left one by one. People stopped visiting. My mother's crown of friends cracked. My father could feel strangers' looks like cold wind. That night, they came to me. "What did you do?" my mother snapped. Her eyes were wild. My father's hands were tied into fists. "You think anyone will believe you?" they asked with hate. I stood up straight. I held Ethan close behind me. I said, "They already believe. You can't take it back." My voice was steady. I was no longer small in my own eyes. For the first time, my father did not hit me. He could not. His power had been taken in the most quiet way. People no longer smiled when he walked in a room. My mother felt naked without her old friends. The house was still the same, but the people around us changed their faces when they looked at my parents. Their throne was gone. We waited. They tried things to get their old life back. They begged. They blamed. They called people who had been their friends. But those friends had seen the truth. They had read the notes. They had looked at the pictures. My parents' stories did not make sense anymore. Years passed. Ethan grew taller. He learned to ride a bike and read big books. We moved far away. We started a small life that felt soft and safe. We had quiet mornings with pancakes, and we went to the park. We found people who were kind and who looked at Ethan like he mattered. Once, many years later, my parents came to our door. They looked smaller than when they had power. My father's voice shook when he asked me to talk to people and fix things. My mother's hands trembled as she begged. I looked at them the way they used to look at me, like I was nothing. I closed the door. I did not say glassy words or shout. I did not try to make them feel the pain I had felt. I knew that breaking them with anger would only make me heavy again. Instead, I let silence do its work. I had used the truth as my tool. I had shown people what really happened. That truth had changed everything. Revenge did not look like a roaring storm. It looked like steady, careful steps. It looked like keeping a small notebook under a mattress. It looked like listening, learning, and finding the right people who cared. It looked like protecting a small boy who liked toy cars. It looked like telling the truth, quietly and simply. Now, when I think back, I do not feel proud of hurting anyone. I do not feel joy in other people's shame. I feel relief. I feel that we were finally able to breathe. Ethan and I found a place where kindness lived. We woke up without fear. We could laugh at cartoons on Saturday mornings. We could build forts and believe in small, safe joys. If you are sitting somewhere and you feel small and scared, I want you to remember a few things. First, you are not alone. There are people who will listen. Second, strength comes in many forms. Strength can be quiet. Strength can be patient. And third, truth matters. When real truth is shown, it will change how people see things. I taught Ethan how to be brave in small ways. I showed him how to speak up, how to tell a teacher or a neighbor when something is wrong. I showed him how to keep his small promises, like putting his cars in a safe box when we moved, or saying please and thank you. Those small things helped him grow into a kind person. Sometimes, nights still bring memories. My back remembers the belt. My heart remembers the sound of the door slamming. But those things are quieter now. They are soft edges in the past. What is louder now is Ethan's laugh. What is stronger now is the quiet life we built, day by day. This story is not about making someone pay in anger. It is about leaving someone who makes you small. It is about making a safe place for a child who needs to grow. It is about using the small tools you have, your voice, your notes, your patience, to build a better life. Ethan will be grown one day. He will remember he was once a boy who lined cars on the floor. He will remember that his mother kept him safe. He will remember that truth mattered. I hope he will use that truth to be kind and brave with others. We are not perfect. We still feel the old shadows sometimes. But the house no longer holds hurt. It holds warmth. It holds pancakes and quiet jokes. It holds bedtime stories and small dances in the kitchen. It holds a life that was chosen with care. If anyone ever asks how to win when they feel trapped, I will tell them what I learned. Do not rush. Watch the doors that open. Keep a small record. Find people who listen. Speak the truth calmly when the time is right. Protect the child inside you and the children around you. And remember, freedom can come in quiet steps. That is how Ethan and I became free. We moved slowly. We were careful. We used truth like a key. The key opened a door we both ran through together. We never looked back to beg for forgiveness. We did not need to. We only needed to keep our small hopes alive and to protect each other. That was enough. That made us whole again. Please like and subscribe for more videos. Also comment where you're watching from.